It's Charlene, one half of the Flights of Fancy Stitchers. Today is October 13th. I'm trying to look at the calendar over here. And I have not been back with a video since maybe March, February. It's been a while. A lot has happened since we did our last video. We have a visitor who, for our returning viewers, you know her. It's Poe. Yeah, I'm talking to the peoples, huh? I had originally taken a break from doing videos because I was just absolutely feeling incredibly overwhelmed from social media. It didn't matter what side of the fence you were on, it just felt like there was a lot of negativity going on in the world, and it was too much. And the best way to remove myself from that, if you will, was to take a break from social media, which I'm very glad that I did. It was good for all aspects, besides the fact that I started putting a timer. Yes, Snoopy, I'm talking to the peoples. Yes. I started putting a timer on my phone to track just how much time I was spending between Instagram, Facebook, all the things. And I was wasting a lot of time during the day, a lot of time that I could spend with my pets, taking care of my home, doing my crafts, be it quilting or stitching or card making or whatever. And it was a good wake-up call for me. And a lot of things happened in March. More health issues than personal issues. Like, marriage is great, kids are great, but my mental health and my health were not in a good place at all. And I had a pretty good scare in March that was that whole, you need to wake up. And I am forever thankful for that, because it has put me on, and my husband too, because he's doing this with me. It has put me on a whole new path to just better everything, better health, better well-being, better mental place of mind. Like, I'm really glad that everything transpired like it did. That being said, I have received several messages from people, and they're like, where are you? Are you okay? Is everything all right? Like, why aren't you doing videos? A lot of sincere concerns, which are appreciated more than you guys know. I feel like, there, that looks a little bit better. We'll try that. If it falls, I apologize. So I decided that now was as good a time as any to come back. And I'm really glad that I decided to sit down and do this, because I'm really good. I keep, all my projects in their own bag, be it a Ziploc bag or be it a project bag, or the bag that especially like the kits that it all came in. But I found out that I had stuff scattered in places that shouldn't have been. So if nothing else comes from this, I was able to completely organize and get everything put back in its appropriate spot. So for that, I thank you. I have 109 whips to share with you. And for those coming to visit for the first time, I'll do a little bit of background for you right quick. So this channel is cross stitch and quilting, because I am a quilter. I share this channel with my daughter. Her name is Morgan. She now lives out in Kansas with her boyfriend. She has a phenomenal job, and she hasn't done any videos for a while either. Her reason is a little bit different than mine, for the fact that she is crazy busy with her job. She gets to travel quite a bit with it. She's kicking ass and taking names. She's doing really well. So she's hoping to come back and do a video sooner than later, but again, time is just not her friend right now. So, but she did say hi. So, um, and we do. I'm not sure how much floss tube she does get to watch because, like I said, she's very busy. Um, I have my favorites that, again, they make me feel good. They don't really, blah, words. They don't bring politics into it. They don't bring any negativity into it. They talk about their life. Yes, that's Snoopy getting a drink. um, they talk about their craft. Excuse me. And of course, they enable us to, buy all the things because that's what fellow stitchers do. But other than that, we neither one of us have spent a whole lot of time on FlossTube, you know, seeing new people and whatnot. Um, but for my favorites that are out there, and you know who you are because I do message you or talk to you or have you on my personal Facebook page. I sincerely appreciate you being there to be that place to go when I'm stitching or crafting or whatever it is. I am married. I have been married for, oh golly, how many years was it this year? It was 34 this year. Is that right? Yeah, it was 34 this year that Preston and I have been married. And we've been together 36 because we were high school sweethearts. We have 2 kids, of course, Morgan, and then we have a son, Dalton, and he is going to college at CSU. He is studying. He's kind of here and there and there and there. It's engineering, but his first goal was aeronautical, and then he kind of moved to mechanical, and then he was like, well, maybe I'll do like a major in mechanical and a minor in civil. So he's still along that same engineering umbrella. He's just kind of dabbling about where all he wants to dip his toe into. So, and he's a sophomore this year. So he doesn't, well, he hasn't come home, but just a couple times this year, this semester so far. But he'll actually be home the next 2 weekends because we've got some family things that we're going to be doing. So that'll be fun. Health-wise, I guess the biggest thing is I've been having trouble or had been having trouble with my eyes since last August, so August of 24. And went to the doctor. Doctor's like, you have cataracts. Okay, doc, I'm 52. That's kind of odd. And leave it to me. I have had a very rare type of cataract that is usually, there's 3 reasons that you have this type. Number 1, you're diabetic. Diabetes isn't even in my family. Number 2, you're a juvenile. This is very common. Children can be born with this, or they can develop this in their youth. Or you have extreme exposure to radiation. And for those that don't know, I grew up literally 11 miles from one of the largest uranium mines in the state of Colorado. I actually learned to swim in the swimming pool that was built in the town where the mine was at. So, and my dad worked for the uranium mine. So to say, well, how are you exposed? I mean, I remember, the one of the classes, I was 1st or 2nd grade, so I was really young. This is like the late 70s, early 80s. That one of the show and tells was a couple of miners came in and they did a talk to our class, and they actually brought in a chunk of yellow cake, which, yeah. And we passed it around and we played with it and we didn't think nothing about it. Very stupid, very naive to the dangers of it. So the doctor told me, he says, you've probably got about 2 years and then you're going to have to address it. And in May, it got to the point where I couldn't even stitch. Like I couldn't hardly read a piece of paper. It was bad. And so I went and saw him, and I have, he's still my eye doctor. The most amazing eye doctor you can imagine. And he was like, Charlene, you got to have the surgery, which was very scary. because I've known, my dad being one of them, that it's either, feast or famine. You either do really, really well or you're blind. And I was terrified. So I got put on this waiting list because they're still, which is so stupid, but they're still dealing with everything from COVID. And I finally got in and had the surgery done. I saw my surgeon in June. Phenomenal doctor. Love him. Had my surgery the 19th of July. And he was so funny. I mean, he's a kid. Like, I would not give this guy 35. He could literally be my son. And he goes, now, I'm going to warn you, going into this, of course, he's like, you're probably still going to have corrective lenses. It's probably going to be fuzzy because I was legally blind without glasses or contacts. It was, my vision was very, very bad. And he says, there's a really good possibility that you're still going to have some sort of device to help you see. Definitely to do the kind of stitching you do. Because I had actually taken my stitching and showed him. I'm like, this is what I do. And I'm a writer. So, being able to set up my computer and do my writing, there's a lot of, I need my eyes. And so he's warning me this. And so we get ready to go into surgery. And he's like, okay, you need to know this is where you're at. Okay. So he does the procedure, which, my anxiety is just through the roof because I can't lose my eyes. And we get done, and of course they've done them both at the same time. So they completely removed the cataract, and then they inserted the permanent contacts into my eyes. That was the prescription that I had before this, basically so I could see perfectly. Again, with a preface that I'm probably still going to have cheaters or, something along those lines to be able to see. And I wake up and I'm laying there on the table and I look up in the machine that they use to come down, and it has like the light and all the little tools and whatever on it. And I look up and the identification code, it's like on the back of your sewing machine. So like on the back of your phone, it says, this model number is XXY and it's made in China or, whatever. And I look up and it's little itty bitty tiny fine print and I read it. And I'm like, I read it to him and I'm like, Doc, I thought you said I wasn't going to be able to see it. He's like, holy cow, you are an overachiever. And I walked out of there, and of course I had to have my, really cool glasses on, but I could see perfect. And they told me that I would still be fuzzy for up to 3 days. I could see perfect. I couldn't stop crying. I was so happy. And so the next day I went back and he's like, it's still going to take a while. You're going to be okay. And I'm sitting in the chair and he's checking my eyes. And of course he's at his desk across the way and he's got his computer up and he's typing as I'm talking. And I could read the top line of the little itty bitty tiny print on the top of his computer. And he turned around and looked at me. He's like, holy cow. Like he could not believe it. He told me later, because I had to go back in because this type of cataract, it develops scar tissue. It's very common. And within, just a few days, I had already started to develop the cataract or the scar tissue in this eye, which is ironic because the right one was the worst. But anyway, so when I went back in and I saw him and he told me, he says, I have done over 4,000 cataract procedures. He says, you are one of 5 that has come back with the positive feedback that you came back with. So it was just, I feel like I was given new eyes. And the morning after when I woke up, so I've worn glasses since I was basically 5 or 6. I was in first grade when I had to start wearing them because I couldn't see the blackboard. And I've always had either glasses or contacts my whole life. And I woke up and I'm laying in bed and I could see my cross stitch on the other side of the room. I could read the writing on Preston's shot glasses on the shelves on the other side of the room. Like, I could read everything perfectly. And the coolest thing as a stitcher, which you guys will appreciate this, I have always, always, always wanted to try those really, really fine counts. And if any of you ever watch Sarah Stitch and Mommy, she has done a couple, or well, actually, I think she's done a few of her Hades on like 40 count, 1/1 kind of thing. And I had some fabric that a friend gave. She gave it to Morgan and I. Like, I can never use this. It was 32 count. And I'm sitting in my chair, got my light on over my head, and I'm holding it in my lap, and I can see the holes perfectly on 32 count. So my eventual end game here, and it's going to be this winter because the summer and fall have been crazy. I want to, take one of my mini Hades that I've, purchased and try doing them on 18, or excuse me, on 28 or on 32 count, just 1/1. I would love feedback on that. I would love any thoughts, besides the fact that it's this little itty bitty dainty picture, but the fact that I can do it is just, yeah. So the other health issues I won't bore you with because they're a little bit more in depth, but I can tell you that because of them, Preston and I have changed up our lifestyle. We've changed up pretty much everything we've done for the last going on 7 months. Preston is down almost 18 pounds now, and I am down almost 50 since the 26th of March. So it's been good in a lot of ways. No surgery, no drugs. This is all sticking very strict to a caloric diet. Like, this is how many calories you're supposed to have. He and I did all of this on our own. I haven't even talked to my doctor about this since we started doing this. We knew what we had to do. We knew the right path to go on. We just had to make the conscious effort to do it. We have completely cut pop out. Pop, gone. No more. And we drank a lot of it. And ironically, fast forward all this time, we don't even miss it. So that's been really nice. But there's not. We've cut out. We go out once or twice a month as a treat, but again, that caloric level. I'm up to walking about 1.5 miles a day. I do Pilates for 35 minutes every morning, and then I'm also doing some weightlifting. So my total workout time is about 2 hours every morning, which works out good because he leaves for work at 5:30. I, do my Pilates. My living room is wonderful. Do my Pilates, do my weights. I can do 40 setups now. That's a big thing. I haven't done 40 setups for, I don't even know the last time I did 40 setups. So yeah, it's been a blessing in disguise to have to do all of this. Our latest scare, and then we'll get on to what you're here for, which is the stitching. We thought we were going to have to put Snoopy down. We've had Snoopy for 10.5 years, so she's definitely family. She wasn't acting right. She was struggling to do the walks with me. Like, something was wrong. And she was losing weight. Her and Jinxie both were losing weight, but not like the vet wanted to see. So it was the 30th. It was the 30th of September. She came in, was sitting here at the table with us, which she had completely quit doing that, which usually, she would at least come in and sit at the table when we'd eat with us. And she rolled over and she had this massive sore. And it almost looked like she galled herself. Well, what it was is that she had developed dermatitis, and she had essentially licked herself raw on the inside of her thighs. Took her to the vet done blood work, done all the gamut, and she was like, Charlene, her red blood cell is tanked, which we had lost her aunt. We lost her in 2018, and that was what they told us. 9 times out of 10, when that red blood cell count tanks, it's cancer. And of course, we all know cancer's hereditary. We're like, not another one. So we, feared the worst. And then, of course, the blood work got delayed getting back to the vet clinic. So we had to wait an extra day to find out, which I'm telling you, that's hard. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know you guys have been through this kind of stuff too. And so the blood work came back. We went down and seen him. And she was like, we're going to do this again. I want to do it in-house to make sure. So while they were waiting for the blood work to do the little spinny thingy on their fancy machine that they have, they did an ultrasound. She comes back and she says, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but you're going to have to put up with your dog for at least 2 or 3 more years. I lost it. I was bawling. I was just so happy. Red blood cells came back. They were considerably higher. She's convinced that it was because the infection from, the dermatitis, and that because of her thyroid, because she was having the blood count showed that her thyroid was incredibly low. So she's on 2 different antibiotics. Well, she's on allergy medicine, antibiotics, and now she's on thyroid medication. We had to change up their food, which was good for Jinx too, because she was overweight too. This dog is outrunning Jinxie, who is 6.5, and definitely me. Like, she's running circles around us when we're doing our walks now. So anyway, I have my dog, I have my health, I have my eyes. It's been a year, but everything for a reason. I have to be positive about this, that everything that has transpired since March happened for a reason. And as tough as it's been to go through it, I'm really, really thankful that all of it happened, because it was a lot of eye-opening for a lot of different reasons. So that is one of many reasons why I have not been here. We're 22 minutes in. If you've stuck around this long, I appreciate you. I have put my projects in chronological order from when they were started, and I'm going to show them to you. You have something in your ear, girl. Need your hair cut again. And I'm going to show them to you in that order, and I'm hoping that I can start coming to you, more often, at least maybe once or twice a month, if not every week. We'll just have to see, what the schedule allows for and go from there. So this will probably be done in 2 parts, because like I said, I have 109 whips, and this is going to take a little while to go through it. So I think we'll see where we're at when we get done with this pile, and then we'll go from there. So that being said, yes, Snoopy, I'm talking to the computer. All right, so I'm going to start off. So the first 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 11, no, 13 projects backwards. 13 projects do not have anniversary dates. And I say that because these are projects that are between 15 and 20 years old that I started, I don't know when. I know for sure that there's a handful of them in here, especially the first ones that I'm going to show you. I started even before Morgan was born, and Morgan will be 25 next year. So, yeah. You'd be proud of me, though. I did finish off 2 this year that were older ones. So, no. 1 for sure, but I think 2. Oh, that's something I forgot to say. So far for this year, I am at almost 110,000 stitches, which is a lot farther than I was this time last year. I actually looked it up. This time last year, I was at 97, I think. 97 or 98,000. So I'm, what would that be? 10, 12,000 ahead of the game. So that's not too bad. But, I had a couple months where, I think August, it was in August, I only had like 5,000 stitches. It was bad. So, yeah, I need to do better. But, the HAID projects, when we get to them, if I don't have a picture printed out in the bag, I will have to get on my phone and show that to you on my Facebook page. And I know that I have 3 or 4 of them like that. So anyway, all right, first one. And again, I know I started this one forever ago. This one is a Genlin kit. All the thread and fabric came in the kit. And I started this one, I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, 96, 97. It was a long time ago. Morgan wasn't born yet when I started this. So this is where I'm at on it. Last time I worked on this one was on the 4th of September last year. So one of the things that I was really proud of myself that I accomplished last year, and for those of you that are with me and have watched the videos, you know this. I was able to touch every single one of my projects last year. Even if it was only for 100 stitches, they all got touched. This year, not so much. I started out really good, and then in March, I kind of fell off that wagon. Dalton, and I forgot to grab it. Dalton got me this really cool journal that I was able to write down the anniversary date of every project in. And so I could go and do that. And then these that don't have an anniversary date, I was working on them. I divided them up and was essentially working on them like 30 minutes, 100 stitches, somewhere in there. So one would get 15 days, the next one get 14, or whatever the month allowed. And I was doing really, really well. And then March came and that was that. So I hope to get back to that this year, or well, in 26, because it worked really well. And I made a lot of progress on those projects. So that's my plan. All the project bags, excuse me, that you see are made by me. And then the zipper pulls are made by Morgan because I don't have the talent. And I apologize if you guys hear something. They've almost got the house that they started building last year. It's almost done, but there's people over there working on it every day. So I apologize for the noise. I'm sure you can hear it. I know I can, so I'm sure you can too. Okay, next one. Again, this is another one. I'm going to say, well, the date on this is 96. So I'm thinking it's late 90s, early 2000s. So this is called Apache Marriage Blessing. And I had originally started it for Preston and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I want to finish it. It's beautiful, but I don't think I'll finish it for him and I. I think that I'll save it and finish it for a wedding gift down the road. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. But this is where I'm at on it. And last time I touched this one was August 26th of 24. So you guys have seen this one since I worked on it the last time. Like I said, these are the ones that I want to put into that rotation to, even if it's a strand a day. I've seen some stitchers that have been doing the strand a day thing, and it's not a lot of progress, but every X counts, right? So here's another project bag. Oops, by me. I have got piles of stuff. And like I said, I put them all in order, and yeah. So this one, I think this one was started in, I want to say I started this one in 13. Pretty sure it was in 13. I started it after my dad died, and he died in 11. And I had originally started this for someone who's not a friend anymore. But I love this piece. And I'm like, you know what? I want to make it for me because I love it. I think it's awesome. It is out of, oh, I'm missing the cover. Shoot, no, I'm not. So it's out of the Cross Stitcher. And this is from February of 10. So, and I'm pretty sure I started this one in 13. So it's called the Crazy Quilt. And I got really gung-ho with it this year, and I was going to finish it. Oh, I was going to finish it. Well, obviously I didn't if you're looking at it. So I made really good progress, but it's not finished. So I mostly, what I've been doing is I go through the color palette, and it's Anchor Thread, which I have decided I don't like Anchor Thread at all. To me, it's coarse and it's rough. To me, my opinion. To each their own. But every time I pick it up, I try to work down through the color palette. So I start at, you know, the first number and go down until I get the stitching, whatever I'm going to do for that day done. I love it. I love the colors. I love all of it. And I would like to get it finished and work it into, because, and I've showed this before in the video, but this is like a whole coffee display. And kind of have my coffee wall, if you will. This is the last of the coffee projects that I have. So I just need to get it done. All right, 30 minutes in. Are you guys bored yet? And again, something I forgot to say to begin with, I'm sorry. All of my projects except I think 2 or 3 are either 14, 16, or 18 count Aida, and the 2 or 3 are either 20 or 22 count. I started a project on 25 count, and of course that was back when I was having issues with my eyes, and I hated it, but I still have that fabric, so yeah. So we'll see. I'm really anxious to, I see all of these dainty projects that people do on this, you know, super tiny 56 count. I'll probably 46 count, that kind of stuff. I'll probably never be that brave, but if I could do 28 or 32, I don't know, I'm excited. All right, this one I started, let's see if it's got a date on it. Nope. I am pretty sure I started this one when we lived in Grand Junction, which would have been in 97, 98. So what would that be? Almost 30 years ago? Yeah. And this one is the Eagle. And I wasn't going to finish this one. And Dalton's like, Mom, I really like that. I'm like, okay. So this year, this was one of the first ones that came out that I was doing the 100 stitches, 30 minutes a day, whatever it was. And I made a ton of progress on this. And if memory serves me right, the Eagle is done. I'm pretty sure the Eagle is done minus some back stitch, I think. I just have the tree and so I need to finish the rest of this tree and then this big old swath of tree. And then I think I've got, I might even have part of the mountain done. So yeah, I'm thinking one more month of pulling that one out and it would be done. Seriously, which would be awesome. And I might, I don't know, it could be finished in time for Christmas if I would just pull it out and do it. We'll see. This one I started again before Morgan was born. I started this one for someone else. which seems to be the story of my life. This one, the book is from 96, so, and I'm pretty sure I started this one in maybe, it was in the late 90s. It's the Lilac Basket. And again, another one, I wasn't going to finish it. Didn't really care for it. And I made a comment to Morgan about it, and Morgan's like, Mom, I love that one. Would you please finish that one for me? I'm like, okay. This was supposed to have been my essentially divided into 12 and work on it for this year. After, because I finished the frogs in, no, was it the frogs I finished this year? No, it wasn't the frogs. I finished the frogs last year. Anyway, whatever it was that I finished, this was supposed to take its place. And I thought, okay, well that'll be good. I can do that. Hang on just a second. Let me see what it was that I finished. It was my thatch cottage. I finished that one. That was the old one that I finished. I finished it in July. You guys haven't seen it since I finished it. And I was supposed to start this one for dividing it into 12 and work on it. And I think I did July. And I think that's about as far as I got. So I need to put this back into the rotation because she really wants me to finish it for her. And I know she'll appreciate it. So that one's definitely one that I need to finagle into my plans to get it done. I have lost my pencil. Well, that's not good. Oh, I put it in the bag. So since I've got it up on my phone, I'm going to show you guys a couple things. So since I filmed the last time, which was in, I'm pretty sure it was in March. Yeah. So I have finished my St. Patrick's bird, my thatch cottage. I finished, what is that called? Summer Basket. It's a blackbird design. I finished that one for Morgan for her birthday. I finished the cycling bear. And then I did a bunch of Christmas ornaments. So I did a tea for a really good friend for her birthday. This is Dalton's. This is Morgan's. This is Preston's. And this was for a really good friend for her birthday. And then, if you guys don't know, which I'm sure you do, we live right outside of Evergreen. We live in a little town outside of Evergreen, Colorado. And we all know what happened last month in Evergreen. And one of my really good friends is a school teacher. And I thought that one was really appropriate with everything that transpired to make that for her. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. That's enough. So, those are my finishes for the year. Side note, but I had them open on my phone to show you the thatch cottage, so I didn't want to forget because I knew I would. All right, so back to the whips. Again, another bag. Morgan picked this fabric out for me because I love strawberries. And then I'm not sure. Oh, it's a heart. Is the fob. So this one, I actually started this one when I think I started it right after I found out I was pregnant with Morgan. So that would have been in, what, 2000? Yeah. And you can see a better picture of this online if you want to see it. And I know it's still available because I actually saw it. It wasn't, maybe it was 123. I don't think so. I don't know. It was on a Stitchy site. But this is called Mother's Quilt, and it's by Karen Kluba. We also know her as Rosewood Manor. This picture is trashed. And I want to finish this. So this haul right here, as you can see, Morgan's pictures here, and then on down is Dalton's pictures, and then in the middle I have a bunch of pictures of the two of them. But I want to finish this so I can hang this up in between. And oh, I did get to the bottom. Haha, look at that. So I get bored with this one. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of quarter stitches. But I think the top is done. I think. I'd have to go back and look at the pattern. But I think I'm done down to here. Like right in here, I think. I just have that bottom half to get done. Again, I just need to pull it out and do it. But if I can get back to doing the, 15 or 20 days on it and make a dent, I won't get it done next year, but I could at least have some progress. And I still keep them in the plastic even though they have a bag. If the bag gets wet or something, they're still protected. I travel with a lot of my pieces. Now that I have Pattern Keeper, I kind of prefer to take my HAEDs when I travel because I can just keep everything, on my tablet. But anyway, all right, this one, oh, I forgot to say, last time I worked on Mother's Quilt was November 19th of last year. Lilac Basket, the last time I worked on it was actually in July, the 28th. And then the Eagle, the last time I worked on it was the 27th of February. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry about that. I needed to answer a text message. If I don't answer my text messages, apparently my family thinks I've ran away and not taken them with me. Who knew? All right, so this one has not been worked on. Well, last time I worked on it was October 21st of last year. And, excuse me, this is in a two-part release from, I don't even know what year it was. It was in World of Cross Stitching. But it is the Moonlit Hare. This was a HAED design. I know it's no longer available. I know it's not on their website, but it is in that magazine if you're interested. Oh, where have I worked? Yes. So, and yes, this is on 14 count, and yes, it's going to be a big one. So this is where I'm at. And of course, when I started this, I was still, oh, I got to do a center start. Like I had never done the corner starch, the whole 9 yards. This was actually the first actual full coverage that I had ever started. So this is basically his back and then some of the flowers behind him. It's going to have a hell of a divide there when I get the rest of him done, but that'll be my memory of knowing what I did and shouldn't have done. I still need to get a project bag for it because I have both books, and I've of course made me a working copy and have my ginormous thing of fabric or thread. Again, way back in the day. I think I started this one when we were still on the Western Slope, so it's been at least 10 years ago. And it just doesn't get the love that it should. And the pattern's very easy to read. There's no excuse for it to not be done. And there's no excuse for it to not have a project bag. All right, this one is called Ocean Beauty. I love this bag. And I am making this one for Morgan. This one is, and this fabric I got from a gal. I don't even know if she still does fabric anymore. But I love that so much. And he's so pretty. So this is called, it's called Ocean Beauty, but I just call it the Seahorse. This is what he's going to look at. Oh, those beads. He's going to be so pretty. So I need to get him done so she can have him on her wall instead of in a project bag. No excuse. He's just not done. All right. And then this one, and if you're offended by dirty words or cursing or anything, you probably want to look away when I show you this bag. I got this fabric from Spoonflower. Maybe COVID? Maybe before COVID? I can't remember. Anyway, I love this bag. I love the flowers. And my family will tell you when poop hits the fan, I have been known to say that combination many times because that's just what I do. Okay, so this one, I actually started this. I know for a fact I started this one. I think I started it right after it came out. So it was either 99 or 2000 is when I started this one. I love this so much. Such a pretty picture. No, it's not done. This is where I am. Isn't that gorgeous? So it is done to right here because I know that this still needs to be backstitched. So basically, like right here down, it's all done. It's so pretty. Oh, I love this. Every time I get it out, I'm like, I've got to get this done. And it goes back in this project bag. Preston was teasing me because I told him what my plans were for 26. He goes, don't you have like 100 and some projects? I said, mm-hmm. He goes, and you want 26 more? I said, mm-hmm. I can't decide if he thinks I should be committed or all of his money goes toward animals and cross stitch. I'm not sure which. Anyway, I would say that it's a cheaper hobby than shoes, but those of us who are stitchers, like real stitchers, we know how much this stuff costs. Shoes can't compare. All right, the next one, and I know that I started this after I moved here, but I was not faithfully keeping track of my projects like I do now. So 18 or 19, somewhere in there. I'm not sure. But this is roasted chicken with potatoes. And I have decided that I am going to make a chicken wall because I love chickens. I grew up raising chickens. Love chickens. I need a chicken wall because I have, yes, I have an affection for, and they taste good too. So, you know, anyway, this is where I'm at. I decided instead of doing French knots, I did beads. So and this is 18 count. So I took, because the French knots are black and white and maybe red. No, they're just black and white. Anyway, I took some leftover petite beads out of a Mill Hill kit, and that's what I used for the beads. So, and this is like the top, I think it's done maybe about right here, maybe right around his beak. Like this whole top is done. I know, every time I watch a floss tuber and they say that when they do a whip parade, it's like, well, finish it. Okay, well, practice what you preach, Charlie, because You're guilty too. I know, I'm terrible. Last time I worked on that one was the 19th of January. And the last time I worked on Personally Yours, the mailbox, was the 15th of January. And I don't know if I said it, but the last time I worked on the Seahorse was the 1st of November. So I'll try to do better at looking at this. Terrible. So this is called Summer Sampler. I worked on this one March 23rd of this year. And I think this one, there's several of these that actually came out for Springo, the challenge that Carolyn Zook, words, in the Magazine Monthly Challenge. And I participated in that one, and then I started doing AB Singo, and that, I think I did like 4 of them. Anyway, so I bought this pattern when we lived in Durango. So that's like the early 90s. And you'll love the excuse why I never started it. So all of the threads in this, excuse me, are from the Caron collection, the Caron Water Lilies. Look at this gorgeous sack of wonderful. I didn't even know what those were. I had never heard of them. The only thing I knew, JP coats, because that's what I learned to stitch on when I learned to embroidery when I was 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Of course, DMC, and then a little bit of Anchor, but mostly JP coats and DMC. That was all the thread I had even ever heard of, and that was long before the internet. And the stitch shop where I bought this at did not have these threads. And so fast forward all these years later, we were living here, and I don't know how I got introduced to 1, 2, 3 stitch. I might have seen it on in a Facebook group. I don't know exactly for sure. I just know that I was enabled and found out about these threads, and I ordered them. They're okay. They're not the greatest to stitch with. And maybe it's because, so this calls for 18 count 1/2. So technically it would be more like 9 count, which would explain why this thread would work good going over 2. But on the same regard, it also kind of looks like a tapestry. So I don't know. I think it's pretty. This is a piece of 14 count Vintage Country Cream Aida. And I know that I got it on 1, 2, 3, and you can't, it's blowing it out. Well, I guess you can kind of see it. But this is, see how poofy it is? I don't know, I like it. Like I said, it's very, almost like a tapestry. And I love this pattern. I cannot answer why I don't work on it more. I just don't. It's a sampler. It should be done. Right? Right. We agree. All right. Here's another one with a profane bag. And when you see what's in it, you'll go, oh, okay, I understand why. So here's a hint. So there's Excalibur. If you're offended, look away. This is another chunk that I got at the same time that I got the other bag. In this bag, and this is a beast, and I say dirty words about it every time I work on it. Teresa Winsler's. Love her dragons. Love her work. So I started this one for Dalton. Again, I know it's been since we lived here, so it was at least in 18 or 19. Again, wasn't keeping track. Last time I worked on this one was the 9th of April. So you can see the divide right here in the castle. From there over That is all done. Backstitch, everything. That is all done. The last time I worked on it, I focused on a little bit of his tail, his feet down in here, feathers, but I was mostly working up here in the wing. So that's where he is. I love this fabric. It's so pretty. And he asks me every time I do one of these, or I'm like, oh, what should I work on today? He's like, well, you know, not that dragon. Yeah, I know. I thought I was going to be able to get it done last year for his birthday. And I actually worked on it quite a bit. And I think I actually showed it in one of my last videos. In February and March. I didn't. I'm a bad mom. All right, this is another one that I started, excuse me, since we've moved here. Again, I didn't keep track. This is the last one that does not have a start date. And this one was a focal piece in January. So the last time I worked on this one was January 30th. This one is out of World of Cross Stitch. I used to have a subscription to this magazine. Last few times I've picked it up and looked at it in Barnes & Noble or Joann's before they went out. Just wasn't real impressed. And again, I have such a shortage of things that I could be stitching. I don't need more magazines. So this is what it looks like. Excuse me, a ton of backstitch. And it's literally just in half because I made a working copy of, so the pattern is 4 pages, I think. So half and half, and then the bottom half and half. So this would be if you're looking at the book, it would be the right page. Oh, excuse me. So, memory serves me. This is done up in here. I think I'm basically done. Because this is more of the chair, and then it finishes up that wall over there. So I think I'm done to the edge of the page. Looks like maybe to the top of the sewing machine. So I think it's a beautiful piece, and I love the color palette. This fabric, so I bought a huge chunk of fabric from Joann's. Sorry, guys. It was like a 60 by 48. It was like a baby quilt size, and 14 count. And Morgan and I cut it up and used it for all these different projects that we started. And as much as I've worked with it, that fabric will not soften up. And here's the bag that I made. Oops, pattern, sorry. The inside of it. It does not soften up. It is awful to work with. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't gravitate to it, even as much as I love the project, because it is awful to stitch on. Awful. So, and it'll get finished, just not today. Okay, so that's the last of the unknowns. So, and the only reason I know for sure the date on this one is because of the date. I started this on the day my dad died. And this is a gold collection, Butterfly Forest, 14 count, cream. That looks like cream. For a long time, I would work on it on the anniversary of when he died. Last time I worked on this one was the 22nd of November last year. And I think I did mostly these half stitches down here, maybe a little bit into the butterfly. It's an absolutely gorgeous piece. The color palette is stunning. I have no reason for not having it done, other than the obvious. Someday. As Tom Cruise said, it's just code for never. All right, next pile. So this one, another bag by me. This one has 2 projects in it. So I'll show you one, and you know what? I won't show it to you because I didn't grab the book. Bear with me while I pull up the picture. So this one, oh goodness, my phone is just blowing up. This one was started on, by the way, the butterflies was started on 6/27 of 11. This one was started on 6/23 of 18. It is the only project that I have left from 2018. And the last time I worked on it was, goodness, the 1st of July. Oh, where's it at? Oh, this isn't good. Oh, here it is. So this is A Wizard's View by Joan Elliott. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry about that. Had to get a drink. So A Wizard's View by Joan Elliott. And this is another one that I'm finishing for Dalton, if I can find it. This is a piece of fabric that I got from, I believe I got it from Stony Creek. Pretty sure I got it from Stony Creek. So the pattern is in 4 in the book. This top quarter here is done. And the last time I worked on it, I basically worked in his cloak right in here. I might have done some backstitch, I can't remember. Coming back. So I don't think I've made it quite to the edge over here yet, or maybe I'm almost to the edge. But all of the beads and backstitch and everything is done in this first quarter. So, and again, I have no excuse. It's just not done. And I think I'm going to, excuse me, it's jumping ahead, but that way I can put this bag up and get it out of the way. This next one, they share the same bag because they're both Joan Elliott's. This is Her Medieval Lady. This is from Cross Stitch Collection. And this is what she looks like. She's so pretty. For a long time I was going to do all 4 of them in that series, but I don't, there's one that I'm kind of on the fence about, so I don't know if I'll do her, but I think I'm going to do the other 3. So no beadwork and no backstitch yet. But I think all of the stitching I have left, there's a little bit here of her dress and whatnot, her sleeve, I think her hand, and then a little bit of her dress. And then I think her head is done. I think I just have backstitch and beading. I saw, and this is a piece of, it was a piece of blue Aida. And then I put pink and purple and maybe blue. I can't remember. I dyed similar to it that Morgan used to make Dalton's R2-D2 out of. And you can go to, Nobody's here. The DirecTV guy was here this morning working on the house. Not our house, the new house. So I will go ahead and mark this one off. Last time I worked on her was the 19th of October last year. Yep, you can hear something going on over there. All right, let's see, I showed you a wizard's view. Okay, this one, last time I worked on it, well, let me start first. I started this one on, so now we're into 19. Excuse me. I started this one on Flag Day in 19, June 14th. And the last time I worked on this was the 24th of October last year. This is Betsy Rossberry. I love this one so much. What I hope, so they also made this a figurine, and I've actually seen it on eBay for very inexpensive. I want to finish this and frame it and hang it up, and then I want to buy a little shelf and put the little figurine on the little shelf next to it. I think that'd be really cool. So, and this, I can't remember what this fabric is. This is another one that I got from 123. It's, I think it might be that same vintage mocha. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I have quite a bit done in the flag. And then I think when I worked on it last, I came over and set the, yeah, it's the arm of the rocking chair. So then I think I worked in the stars too. So a lot of backstitch in this one. I've got to get this in and make a working copy for the backstitch. I've got the working copy for the stitching, but I need one for the backstitch. I don't ever write on my patterns. I'm really, really particular about that. And then my patriotic bag. This is left over from a shirt that I made Dalton when he was in grade school. Every year he asked for a patriotic shirt. I always thought that was pretty cool. Oh, I gotta lean over, guys. Okay. This one, last time I worked on this one was in, well, back up, keep doing it. Started this one on the 15th of June in 19. And last time I worked on it was in September 2nd of last year. This is what it looks like. And this pattern is from, it's from the 80s. I actually looked it up one time. It's like a really old pattern. And I bought the parts to actually make it into a clock for my sewing room. So I have almost the border done. I've got a little bit left to do in the border. And then the face of the clock, and then looks like I need to put who it's by and the year. And then there's a poem here. No, is that the poem? No, this is the clock. The clock goes here, and then the words around it. And then who made it? Yeah. I'm thinking 2 weeks it'd be done. I feel like that's that way with a lot of these. Okay, just sit down and get it done. Quick procrastinating, or whatever word you want to use. All right, another bag by me. Yes, we are Broncos fans. That game that they pulled out this year was, or I mean this week was, I ended up coming in here making cinnamon rolls. I'm like, no. So this one was started on July 18th of 19. And Morgan made this. It matches it perfect. Love that. Little rose on the handle. And I have to be careful how I show this one to you because the pattern is on the picture is on with the pattern. So try to be careful. So that's what it looks like. I love this so much. I want to get it and hang it here in the dining room. And this is a piece of fabric that I dyed, and I don't even remember what all I used. Brown and taupe and, God, I don't know, a lot. Very old looking. I love it. So it's not quite, is it not quite halfway? Actually, no, it's not quite halfway because I've still got some writing here to do. But I got a good chunk of the horse done and the rider. So I love this. And I actually found, excuse me, I haven't bought it. I need to before they quit selling it. But Hobby Lobby has got those wooden frames, barnwood looking. I need to go and get one of them to frame this with because it would just look so cool. Anyway. All right, next one I started on July 24th of 19. Last time I've worked on this one was the 23rd of October last year. And this magazine is just absolutely destroyed. It's country, cross-country stitching from '96. And I started this for one of Morgan's teachers when she was in grade school. Or excuse me, she had to have been in high school. Yeah, she was in high school. And I was going to finish it for one of her teachers. And, you know, made a comment about it. She's like, oh yeah, she'll love that, she'll love that. And then I don't remember if she asked her about it. I don't remember what the deal was. But anyway, long story short, the teacher didn't really care for this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I have a lot of teacher friends, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to just pick one of them, because they're all really good friends. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Anyway, that's where I'm at. It's a lot of fun to work on. The color palette's awesome. But I think when I worked on it the last time, for some reason I think I worked on the, I think I brought the blue around and then maybe I came up and filled in some of this. Or maybe I came up here and I worked in, because that's her, like her vest or part of her dress kind of. I don't remember. A long time ago. Not that long ago, but you know. Anyway. This one needs a project bag because this one is going to be a while in the making. And that poor buck has just about had it. All right, next one. This is the last one from 19. I started this one on the 25th of August in 19. This one is called Festive Frosting. This is another one I've got to... Yeah. It's so cute. And it was, until July, the only Christmas project that I had going. And then in July, I got stupid. And yeah. So this is on a pair of opal, or on a pair. Yes, this is on a pair. And why I have such a ginormous needle. On gold opalescent, 14 count. And so all of these are done. I started on him. When did I work on this last? There's your paper. The 26th of December last year. So I worked on this in here. And then of course I did some of the letters, and then there's, you can see the, like the confetti in there. I worked on that too. So. And my plan was to work on this the 26th of every month because, you know, Christmas. Best laid plans, right? Okay, next step. So this one in a huge bag. So when I started this, and I'm still, and Morgan made me a Aerie zipper pull. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I want to finish it because I've put well over 5,000 stitches in it. By the way, I started this one, so now we're into 20. So I started this one January 15th of 20. Last time I worked on it was January 31st of this year. And I'm talking about Aries by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the bigger one. So I went in and I requested a size in this from Haid this year. In maybe the spring. It was spring. It might have been right after I worked on this, so it might have been in January. And I have the mini in Aquarius that you'll see later on that I'm making for one of my besties. And I really like it. The mini is good. It's not as, obviously none of them are as detailed as the originals, but it doesn't look bad. Like her face doesn't look too bad. Like it still looks good. So I was like, okay, well, you know, that one turned out good. Aries should turn out good. And so I requested it, and it's terrible. Her face is muddled. It's awful. And so I showed it to Dalton and Preston. I'm like, what do you think? And they were like, oh, it's ugly. And I showed it to Morgan, and Morgan's like, no. Now, mind you, this is on 14 count. It's huge. It will end up being 32 by 40. So I don't know. And then, oh, I love this. So I worked all the way across the top. And I'm like, you know, I better count this and make sure. I am literally one row off. So I made my mark there so I would know. But I've got to frog all of this out. Yeah. But that being said, this is what I have done. So do I say, yeah, sucks, wasted the thread? I can still either frog it, I can still use all of this for lots of other projects. And since I can see now and see well, do I take this, give me a piece of 25 count, so then it would only be basically 18 by 23 and start over. I really want this on my wall before I die because that's my birth sign. And I love this piece. I love this picture. Yeah. I would love thoughts. It makes me sick that I wasted that thread, but I don't know if I'll ever finish it being this big. That's a huge thing to have hanging on my wall. Huge. I mean, that's like, I went to the, you know, museum and stole the giant painting kind of thing. It's huge. I just don't know if I'd ever finish it. All right, next up. So this one has 2 start dates. This is the one I was telling you guys about. So I initially started this one in May 10th of 20. And the reason it has poppies is because it reminds me of my dad. Here's my zipper pull sis made me. So I originally started this on 25 count. And I did 2/1. And yeah, it looks like a tapestry, but this is a bitch to stitch through. It's awful. And you know what's funny is that before I had to have cheaters. Even with my glasses on, I had to have cheaters to do this. And now I can see this so plain. And this would be big enough to restart Aries. So I scrapped it, and I ended up getting a, I don't know if this is 22 or 20, but I think it's 20. It looks like 20, because I can see it way, way too good to be 22. And this looks a lot bigger. Yeah, I think this is 20. Anyway, I restarted it in May of 22. Basically the same date. So May 10th of 22, I restarted this. And I'm talking about trance. So one of the reasons that this is really important to me is, number one, my dad loved poppies because he was a very avid supporter of our heroes and our veterans. And number two, he always told me that if I ever saw a dragonfly, it was him coming to say hello. So this piece is for my dad. And the last time I worked on this was December 15th of 24. Excuse me. Something else I had started last year, which it worked out great, was picking one of my full coverages and working on them for, kind of like I explained earlier, you know, the first half of the month went to this project, second half of the month went to this project. And I ended up getting all the way across the top of this one. So that's the edge. Maybe I didn't. No, this is the one that I was short. I think I was short like 100 stitches on this one. It was the clock that I got all the way across the top. So yeah, I think I'm like 2 or 3 blocks shy on this one, but I'm almost across the top. How's that? And I really enjoyed working on this one. And again, now that I can see better, this one will be no trouble at all to work on. But I've got that fabric, and I'm pretty sure it would be big enough because this was 525 by 353, and the Aries I think was 450 by, I want to say 567. Might be tight. Or no, we'd have to measure it and see. But if it would work, just a thunk. I don't know if I said it. Yeah, I did. The 15th of December was the last time I've worked on this one. Okay, next up. Goodness. This one I started on May 13th of 20. Last time I worked on this was the 14th of September this year. This is one of the ones that got put into AB Singo. So this is Lizzie Kate's Dog Lessons. And this is a piece of fabric I ordered from 123. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. It might have been, what was the called for? Natural Belfast Linen. I don't think that's what it was. Merino Belfast. It might have been in 14 count. I don't think so though. Anyway, that's where I'm at. When I worked on the last time, I worked on the words, and then I think I came up here and I did the heart. Yeah, I think that's what I did the last time. I think the dog is done. Pretty sure the dog's done. So, I love this one. I want to get the one that's cat lessons. Do it too, because obviously we have cats too. Alright, so the last one on this page is Hearts of the Kingdom, Rosewood Manor. I started this one on 5/14/20, and the last time I worked on this one was October 12th of last year. And this is a piece of fabric that I dyed. I always forget which direction. It was just a piece of white Aida, and it's now like pink, green, orange, really, really light. And that's where I'm at on it. This was supposed to have been in AB Singo to do the motifs, but like I said, I really fell off with my challenge this year. I just didn't stick with it. All right, so that is 2, 4, 6. That is 24. So we're not quite a quarter of the way, and we're an hour and a half in, but I also talked for 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to finish up this pile, and then I am going to download this, and then if I have time this afternoon, I'll film some more and get the rest of it in order. Otherwise, I will work on it tomorrow. So that's it. So the next one up, I started this one on May, and these May ones that you're seeing, they were part of Mania that Sis and I did during COVID. But we started this one on May 25th of 20. And I started all 12 of these, 8 of them were finished. So this one is August, and these are Country Cottage Needleworks. Love the glare. And I'm using, this is 18 count cream, called for colors. So, and last time I worked on this one was in July 20th. And I pulled it out. I don't even know what was going on. But I pulled it out and I was like, oh, I'm going to hurry up and get that done so I can put it in its frame for August. And then I realized how much I had left. It was like, this is an overachiever. Besides the fact that that was the day after I had my surgery, and I wanted to prove if I could, to myself, if I could work on this, and it was like, I cried. All right, next one is September. I have them all in the same bag. It has lots of dirty words on it, so this is September. And this one was started May 27th of 20. Last time I worked on this one was September 23rd of 24. Very meager. So. And the weird thing is that when I started these, I loved those houses. Like, loved those houses. And not so much. And I've only got 4 left to do. All right, next one is November. And I started this one May 28th of 20. Last time I worked on this one was September 19th of last year. And they're all on the same 18 count Aida. I took a big chunk and cut it up to make them. This one is even worse. I love that variegation, that brown roof. It looks awesome. So I need to get them done. I have October's done. It's set in on the table in the living room. And then I'm going to skip ahead one. So, because they're all in the same bag. This one was started on the 30th of May in 20. Last time I worked on this was November 7th of last year. Yeah, and that is December. This one's got quite a bit of progress on it. But I got tired of working on all that white. I was like, no. I found all my hoops and all my magnets. So, yeah, there's a ton done on this one. And I know when I was working on this one the last time, I know that I was trying to get the white done in the house so I could do the red frame, because I hate the way red makes, you know, the fuzzy that it gets on your fabric, or on your white thread, or light thread anyway. So, yeah. All right, so that was December. All right, 2 more in this pile, guys, and then we're going to call it good. So the next one, this one was started on May 29th of 20. The bag I made. And I worked on this one on the 1st of September. This one was in AB Singo. I worked on. This was a piece of fabric that I had had forever, and it just seemed so perfect to use for this. I always have to stop and think where the picture's at. This is another Joan Elliott. And I had planned on doing Joan in July this year, because I think I have 5 Joan Elliott's. So they were each going to get a week. July was busy. So that's her. Like I said, I'd had this fabric forever, and it just felt so perfect to use for this little gal. So when I worked on this one the last time, I worked on the reds. I remember, I think I did a little bit of the green, and then I remember working on 1 or 2 of the reds. So, and I'm using all the called color, and I think I've got all the beads and stuff for it. I think I've got everything that I need. I just need to sew. I know before I had my eye work done, I went in and actually had this pattern blown up because I was having a really hard time reading it. Because it's in, sorry, I didn't even show you, Cross Stitch Collection. I was having a really hard time reading the pattern, and so I went in and I had it blown up again. Yeah. All right, last one in this pile. So this one is the last one from May 31st of 20, and this is one of my favorites. So this is Pretty Pumpkins by I always forget the name of it. Glendon Place. And this is on a piece of that fabric that I hate it. And I know that's quite smart, but look at this color palette. So pretty. I did do something this month. I put all of my fall and Halloween pieces into a wheel. I ended up with 8. So every one of them will get 4 days except one, and one of them will get 3 days. And so I have touched some of my fall ones. This is in on that wheel to get worked on this month. So basically the flower on the inside of the pumpkin is where I'm at. Not much. I took this one and had this one blown up too, because when I worked on it, so the last time I worked on it was the 26th of September last year, but the last time I worked on it, I could not read the pattern. So now I've got this ginormous pattern to work on. But I like having working copies. I don't want to ruin my patterns, because the majority of them, when I'm done with them, I pass them on to Morgan, because she wants to stitch most of them. Not all of them. There's a few of them that I've given away or taken to the Goodwill, but not very many. So, okay, we're going to stop here. I'm going to get this one downloaded, and then I will come back here in a little bit and I will film part 2. So won't have as long as an introductory the next time. So Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good day, guys.